Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought that we would go through this stuff. This is a basket full of bags of things that I have got at the Salvation Army or secondhand stores. And so I need to put it all away. And I've been just sticking it in this basket and not doing anything with it because I wanted to show it to you. And I like to get like the bags full of stuff that you can see through the bag, but you never really know exactly what all's in there. And so I like to get those and then be surprised when I open them. So I thought that we would just go through this really quickly and, well, maybe not really quickly, and see what we've got and see if maybe it inspires me for my next project. So we'll start with this one because this is all the same thing. This is a bag full of black Rit dye. And so it was in a plastic bag and I stuck it in a Ziploc bag on top of that because it's all kind of leaking a little bit. I don't know what I'll do with it. I don't really dye a whole lot, and it's my understanding black is a hard color to dye, but we've got it to play with and it was super cheap. So that is something that I'll just put by my fabric paints, I think. So then let's start with, and I think I showed you this one before. This one I picked up at the Salvation Army just because I thought it was so cute. And it's basically just little squares and rectangles. And I thought that might be really cute to try and make on a smaller scale. You could do it with even paper piecing, just paper, not paper piecing like with fabric. But you could do it with paper squares and paper rectangles and make that for a journaling card or something. And I just thought it was really cute, so I picked it up. But I need to figure out what I'm going to do with it because I bought it for inspiration. Haven't got around to that yet. So I got this. Some of these things, this one I did take out of its plastic and stuck it in a different bag because the bag that it was in was like very sticky and yucky. But I thought that this was really pretty, and I like the colors with the different color pinks and then the brown in there. There we go. Isn't that really pretty? I really like that. And I'm not so sure I would have thought to put those colors together. I love brown. And it looks really nice with those colors. So I like to keep them in baggies when I get them. Just for at least for a while. Because, I don't know. I read somewhere somebody said, oh, don't ever buy like fabric things that you can't wash at a secondhand store like yarn, because you don't know if it's got bugs or something. So I stick them in a plastic baggie, nice tight one. So if there's bugs in there, they're either going to suffocate or they're going to come out and I would see them. So that's just kind of what I do for a little while. That one's been there for a long time though. Here's another one because I seriously have just been setting these aside. This one looks very much like wool. I wonder if it is wool. It's got its thing on here. Delightful soft yarn for all occasions. Nope, it's acrylic and nylon, but it sure looks like wool. And I'm going to play with that with felting. Like, just see with my little felting needle how it works, because I don't really have much in the way of felt. Like, I have felt sheets, which actually my felt sheets aren't really wool either. But like I did a little thing on a piece of my regular felt with all different types of yarns that were not wool, and it was fun to play with, and it did stick together. I've got it here. I kind of was making like a little for an art doll. I used it to make a little shawl, but after I needle felted it together, then I did some stitching and stuff on it. This piece around the edge is stitched on, but all of these pieces, I used my little felting needle thing and poked it all together, and it stayed together. Take it apart there. But see, the pieces of the yarns came through, that's kind of what holds it all together. So yeah, it was fun to play with. You just have to be really careful with the needle that you don't poke yourself. I've heard that like people have really hurt themselves with the needles. So I was very careful, because that's the last thing I want is to poke a needle into my hand. But I thought that might make a really cute shawl for an art doll. She's not even partway done. But, and then I got a little bit of jewelry. That's, I'm going to move the whole basket out of the way now. Make it a little easier to open these things up. Not lose them in there, but I don't, and this was $2.99, but I got this one when blue was 75% off. I just wait. You know, if you can't wait, then just decide whether you think it's a good price or not. But I thought, I fell in love with these little birds. There's 2 little post earrings and then 2 of the dangly earrings. And I just thought those would really make, go really cute on some type of a tassel. So, or even on a brooch. And then this one, is not sure what this is. And I really don't know what that is. Kind of looked a little like an owl, but it's not. It's just some kind of decoration. It says it was $10. Does it say on the back what it is? No. No, it doesn't say what it is. But anyways, it's got the little hoops on there. And I don't really wear the earrings, but those hoops I could maybe use for something else. And that's the biggest thing is like I look at, this is why I bought these, because I really liked these earrings right here. They're post earrings. But I just loved the way that those looked. I don't know what I'll do with them. Again, I won't wear them. But I think that they're very artistic looking. And I just like the way that that they look. So I'm going to use those on some kind of a project. And I just like to have things like just here to flip through. I'll probably take most of these even off of what they're on. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm not sure. There's 2 of these. Now see, this right here could be used all on its own to make a dangle. And then you could hook things into the different hoops that are there. And use the top to hook something to, like a clip. So there's, and all of them are pairs. That's good. Sometimes you get, when you get these types of things, you know, you only get one of each or whatever, which doesn't matter. This one's really pretty because it has little diamonds on here. So those are really cute. And then the last ones, they're like a post hoop. And those are really cute too. Those might make a really cute like bracelet on an art doll. Or depending on what size art doll, it might even make a nice like little choker. So I'll just put those aside because they're not going to go back in the bag. I'll put those away with some other jewelry. Here's one that was $1.99, and again, I just waited for it to go on sale. But, and you know, I don't need anything, so it's very easy for me to look at something and think, oh, I like that, but not buy it because I already have a ton. It's hard for me to not buy it, so this cost me 50 cents for what's in this bag. And I really did like what was in this bag, but I waited 2 weeks before that color went on sale. But I liked the chain because I thought the chain, look at how many dangles I can get out of that. There's 3 pieces to it. And you can break each one of them into a piece about this long and then put a clip at the top. And this has a really nice big clip on it too. So right there's one clip. And, but yeah, cut it right about there and then just hang different things off of it. And so that's a lot of nice chain for dangles. And then we've got all of these little circles. And there's so many things like you see that people do little like dream catchers and that type of thing. Or embroidery around them and then hang something in the middle. I have one that I want to put one of my homemade beads in the middle, one of my fabric beads. But I really liked these. I thought that these were really cool. There's 3 of those in there. And yeah, that's wood around there. I couldn't tell if it was leather or wood, but that's wood. So those are really cool. Not sure what I'm going to do with them, but I really like them. And then I thought that these were beautiful. They look like the tortoise shell. But those are very, very pretty. Those 2 would be nice to maybe hang something in the middle there. And then we have these ones, which are kind of hollow on the back side. And then just some regular wooden rings and one more of these. So I thought that that was definitely worth it to me. I wanted that one. And actually, I debated on paying the $1.99 for it instead of waiting. But I waited, and it was still there when I came back. But, you know, I always have the thought of if you're meant to have it, it will be there when you go to buy it. If it's gone when you go back, then somebody else was meant to get it. So, and with me, because like I said, I have everything. I'm not saying that you should always just wait till it goes on sale. If it's something that you really think that you would really like, that would have been definitely worth $1.99. So let's see what's in this one. And it's just fun. I love going through these and then opening them up and seeing what's inside. That's a nice ribbon. So when your ribbon shreds like this, if you use a lighter to just run along the edge, which you've probably seen this a million times, but that will stop it from fraying. And that way you can put it in with all of your other ribbons, and you don't have to worry about every time it gets moved around that it frays just a little bit more and a little bit more. That'll just keep it nice and even on that end. Oh, that's cute. A little quilter's label, quilted by, and you can add your name right there. This is kind of cool. This is like snap ribbon. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Is that what it is? It is. Little snaps on a ribbon. So this might be really kind of neat to put like as a journal, but boy, they're really tight, that's for sure. You might want to snap them and unsnap them a few times if you're going to use it on something where it'll be opened and shut a lot. It make really cute for a little change purse because it is nice and sturdy. But also, you could put, you know, one on the cover of a journal, and then take the other one and put it on a ribbon that will go around and connect to it. That's what, I don't think I've ever seen them that way. I like snaps. I don't really do. I made a book once for my daughter when she was little where I made little stuffed animals. It was like a little lake with a sailboat, and the sailboat was stuffed. It was stuffed felt, and I put a little snap on the back and snapped it into the book on top of some water, and there was clouds on there and that type of thing, but the boat came out and went back in. I still have the book, but all the little pieces are gone. Wow, that's beautiful, and that I did not see in there. That is really pretty. So then I'll go through and I will put all of this stuff away where it belongs. So now this would go with knitting needles, but I don't really, oh yes, I do have a little spot where I do have some knitting needles. So these will go there because these are like stitch counters. But they also could possibly be used for something else. But I will put them with my knitting needles because that's where I would look if I thought, ooh, I know I got some of those. Where did I put them? I would have put them with kind of what they go with, even if I wanted to use them for something else. And then I have a lot of vintage, like eye hooks and snaps and that type of thing that I have in a drawer. So these will all go there so that I'll know where they are. But like even just seeing the vintage background is just like, it's awesome. I really like that. Here's hooks and eyes. And some more snaps and snaps. And more hooks and eyes. And I'm trying to think. I'm not really sure. It's hooks, eyes, and loops. Now this is what I think of as a hook and an eye. I'm not sure what this long piece is. I think maybe you could use it with the rounded piece, or maybe you could use the hook with this one. So like you could use it here or here. It's just kind of funny that there's just, those are all there by themselves. And I don't know what they are because I've never really been a sewer. Here's little, the hooks and eyes, in a little box, and a few more. So all of those will go with my vintage hooks and eyes. And someday I am going to do something with those because I just like them. Let's see what else we have. So this one, since I'm trying to put it all away, I don't need to keep it in the bag. Take the bag apart, that'll make me do something with it instead of throwing it back in the basket or something. So we have a couple of clothespins. I love playing with clothespins and decorating them. You can make something like the little scrap monsters. Like make a little scrap monster and stick them on there, and then you can just like glue them on there, paint the clothespin so that it's not so noticeable. Put it this way, there's not hardly anything left. And then you can just go clip it on your curtains, or clip it just anywhere. I think it's fun to just have stuff like clipped around or sitting around with just a little bit of art pieces here and there. So they also make good to hold your potato chip bags together. And then we have 4 little things of thread. So they need to go where I keep my thread. This one's kind of cute. This looks like the shape that old wooden spools were made out of, but this one is plastic. But I love that shape. And you don't see those that often either. Usually they're more like this, where it's just kind of straight. And we've got some tan and another blue. Are those the same? Not quite. And a piece of string, which I could keep. Actually, I think that this at one time, it looks kind of like at one time it was elastic that's lost its elasticity, or it could just be a string, but I don't think I'm going to keep that. I have string. And then look at all of these big pins, and these also are fun to put pins in, or put beads on. You can put beads on there. Really, like, to me, I would rather put the beads on here, but it's got this little loop here. You can buy pins that just go like that, where you can put the stuff on the other side. And I'm wondering if possibly, I've never really tried to undo this part. I wonder if you could maybe kind of pull it out of there, put the beads there, and then put it back together so that you could pin this through something and your beads would be there. I don't know about that. But those are nice big pins. And then I got this. I think I actually got this at a store, and I paid $1.37 for it. And it's just that really nice, and there's a lot of it. How much is on there? 5 yards. So there's 15 feet of that on there. That's that really pretty. I like that kind of corded type ribbon. I don't know what you call it. And we've got this one. Another surprise package. Okay, just dump it all out so that I have to put it away. These are kind of like beads and old buttons. That's kind of a yucky bag. Look at those. Those little pearly beads are really pretty. Some orange ones. And there's another one kind of like a button off a Western shirt. A little metallic one with an eagle on it. Those are really cute. And it looks like, no, there's one regular button. All the rest of these are like the type of buttons with shanks on them. So I might put those I might start putting them like in a separate place where I have some of my shank buttons like in a separate place. Instead of having them all mixed together. I won't sort all my buttons that way because I have too many, but it might not hurt to have a spot where there's just, then when you need one, you can get one. We got a couple cute little white ones and some more white ones, black ones, another shank button. I'll leave them for now. I'll separate them all later. I like how they used to do this. You find this quite often when you go through, like if you go to an estate sale or something where the people were older, where they took the buttons off of whatever clothes they were on and stuck them on a pin. See, that's what I could use those for. Keep track of my buttons. Oh, you see, here's another one. But that way they kept them together. Like this all came off of one shirt probably. So they took them off the shirt when they threw the shirt away. Because you used to wear clothes till they were so worn and you handed them down to the next person until they just couldn't be handed down anymore. But the buttons were usually still good. So then you'd take the buttons off and throw the fabric away. So there's another pin and a shank button and another whole set of pink buttons, little screw. Not sure what that, oh, that's some kind of a clasp. And then we have some little magnets right here. So those are fun too. You can use those for closures on journals. Except they're a little bit thick. And then there is a zipper, a piece of a zipper. Now that is just, you can just use that in some kind of a mixed media collage with metal bits. So that's another fun thing to do. This is a plastic wheel. I don't know that I'll need that, but I'll think about it. Another whole set of buttons. And, oh, at least there's 2 wheels. And a rock, a crystal. And more buttons. And, oh, that says mother. Not sure what that's on. That's cute. Oh, now this is a setter. Look, it was at a garage sale for 25 cents. This is to set the eyelets and the snaps like these. So you would put a piece under the fabric with little pokies on it, and then this would go on top, and then the setter, this one with the hole in it, would go on top of the one that bumps out like that. You put that on there like that, and then you hit it with a hammer, and the pokey parts like this. See the little things on there? So that goes under the fabric. You poke it through the fabric, and then these kind of have little ridges in them, or I don't know how you want to say that, like a little a valley. So that valley fits right on top of there like that. And then you put this on top of it, and then you hit it with the hammer, and those two press together and pinch very tight. Those little pokey parts bend over into this, and there's your bottom of your snap. And you do the same thing with the top part of the snap that will snap in here when you're done. So that's what those are. If you see those and you don't know what they are, that's what they are. And then we just have some different types of buttons, but there's like quite a few of the setters in there. Those are nice to have because sometimes you find the little snaps, those types of snaps, but you don't have a setter to go with it. And then here we go with, there's a little, this is a tie clip with the little faces on it. Can't think of it. And then just a bunch of old, really old buttons. And in here are a bunch of tiny, tiny buttons. There's even a shell. Just little bits that they had thrown. That one's kind of like a little diamond thing. A couple of the metal ones. Love the metal buttons. Couple of buttons in there. And then here they've got them separated so that instead of putting them on a pin, they stuck them in little plastic baggies. Now this one's got little metal bits in it. It's got a little metal bit here. It's got a piece of a zipper there. Those are the things that are fun to do in a mixed media collage. There's even a little metal tack. Be careful with that one. Little tiny, tiny, look at that little tiny pin. It's barely even as big as that button. So this is really a fun thing to do. If your Salvation Army or your secondhand store throws stuff together like that, it's really fun to get the bags and then try and figure out what they are. The hardest part is then you have to go through and you have to put all that stuff away, which so far there's quite a bit out there. This I thought was really cute. These are transfers, and I think I remember from when I was younger, you can use them more than once. You iron them on like to oh look. So here's the little girl, and there's some daffodils. There's another one of the little girls that they used to have on a lot of stuff way back when. Look at this to go along the edge of a pillowcase or around a tablecloth. This is really pretty. It kind of almost looks like it's in a little bit of a cage. But you'd take this, you'd cut it out, put it on whatever you want, a pillowcase, a tablecloth, a shirt, and then you could embroider on those lines. So here's some more borders down here. And it seems, I'm not 100% sure if this one will or not. I don't even know if this one will still even work. But it seems like when I was younger, each design good for up to 6 or more stampings, it says. And the stamping is put it on the shirt or the whatever and iron it. And then it would put that pattern on there. And then here, even on the back, it shows you how to do a running stitch, an outline stitch, a cross stitch, buttonhole stitch, a bullion stitch, a feather stitch, a chain stitch, and a short and long stitch. So that's really kind of cute too. And then a list of all the different ones that they have. But I'm going to actually try that. I'm going to iron it on something and play with that. So this one was 99 cents. Probably got it for a quarter. Because since I don't need it, I really tell myself, you don't need that. Like, don't buy it. You don't need it. And it gets to the point where it's so cheap, I can't pass it up. This is kind of like wired plastic beads. But it actually, I've never actually seen that before. I've seen them like this just on string. Interesting. So I'll put that where I keep all of the string with the beads on it. And look at the little, I like these little puff balls. They're fun. And you can use them to glue them on little things, little faces for little stuffed animals. Or you can sew them on. I like to sew them on. Usually I do kind of sew through them and then around them just because I'm afraid that they'll pop off if I just glue them. There's a welcome that can go on something. Again, you do a piece of mixed media and put that on there. That's the little metal one. Gotta love these wheels. I really love these wheels. They're for pattern making, and you would use them to roll around a design with tracing paper underneath of it. And then the little spikes would put a little dot where the tracing paper touched your fabric as you rolled across around the design. But I like to use them like to make perforated paper. So like even you could make like little postage stamps by just making perforations, you know, all the way across a piece of paper this way and then up and down. And then you can put pictures in each of those squares, and then you can rip them apart because your paper's perforated and they look like stamps. So I like to do that with those. I love those rollers. I don't want to take it out of there. I have a lot of them. So I didn't want to take it out of there because I kind of like that it's in the package and it's still sealed. Oh, and originally these were $4 for $1. And then I found this and I thought that this was really cute. Letters to my grandchild. Now, I got it as inspiration. Like I like to pick up things to give me ideas. But I thought, you know, what would really be cute. Now this one opens up like a letter and then it closes up and you can seal it up and say it was sealed on this date to be opened on this date. But you can write letters in here, which I thought that was a really cute idea. And look, it even looks like, oh, looks like my Bubby dolls. I love those little girls. But I thought that it would really be kind of cute to make a little journal like this out of envelopes, to put the envelopes in and decorate them, but do it just like this to take on a trip and not to be opened like this, but to be an actual envelope. So that you could stick, you know, your first stop is Six Flags or whatever. You could put your ticket in there. You could put your receipts from what you buy at Six Flags. You could write something down and put it there. But have it be an envelope so it can all be slipped into there. And actually, now in thinking about it, you could do that and then still have a piece on the front of the envelope that would open up like this. So you could write about going to Six Flags and then there would be a pocket behind it that would be a place to put all of the mementos that you got. So I think I'm going to try and make a little, like a travel, basically a little like travel journal, vacation journal. So just like for one trip where you can put everything at. So we're getting a little bit long here. I just really need to get this put away. We've just been so busy. I apologize for missing last week's craft video. And actually, I don't know that there will be one this week. Says God loves you. Because we're still, the kids are coming, you know, and working on their properties. So we've been busy with that. And I don't go out and work on the properties. I just do the cooking. But hubby goes and helps them, and then they do a lot of it. But ooh, that's really pretty ribbon. And remember that if you have gathered ribbon and you need flat ribbon, all you have to do, oh, that one had a little crystal stuck in there. All you have to do, well, look, it's even already started. There's this little bit of mesh that is sewn and gathered around the top of your gathered lace. So if you need flat lace, all you do is you just pick that. Look, see, it's already started. So there we go. I can just take that right off of there. The thread comes off. And if it's not this easy, some of them don't come off that easy. But you just take a little seam ripper and you just like pick through and just pick that thread out so that this part comes off. And then what do you have? You have flat lace. So I can remember I used to I had some colored lace that was gathered and I really needed it to be flat. I didn't know that. And then also, you know, in order, if you have flat lace and you need gathered lace, just do a running stitch, like up, down, like this, all the way to the end, and then just pull it, and then that will gather it. So if you don't have one or the other, and you need the opposite of what you have, that is how you can change it. So we'll set that over there. And this is really cute little, and they put this here because that keeps it from, these like to ungather once you cut it once. It's hard to keep it together. So putting a piece of tape on the end is a really good idea. But that's cute. And that can be ironed down. So like it is kind of messy right there, but it can easily be ironed down and be right back to normal. And this stuff, if you buy it, it's not cheap. So it's fun to get those kind of things at the craft store or at the Salvation Army or secondhand store. That's really pretty. And it's got stains here, which actually can add some texture, a little bit of interest to your project. But if you don't want that on there, you can just go ahead and take this off. I think what I would do is I think I would just cut it out about 1/4 of an inch, straighten this side out over here. It's got a little bit of a, you can see where that's gathered into the fabric. These threads are going right up in there. I can feel them. So I don't think I would want to cut it there because that would make that unravel a bit. So I think I would just come out and just cut it a nice straight line instead of it being too tatty. But then again, some people really like tatty. So it just depends on what project you're even doing. So there's 2 pieces of that. Wow. Ooh, okay, now I had no idea that this, I've never even seen this like this before. I've never seen this so wide. Normally you see it like this piece here with some tassels hanging down, maybe like one little bit like this possibly that might come down and then the tassels hanging. But look at that. That's gorgeous. I'm not sure what I would do with that. That's really, really beautiful. That might look really cool on some kind of a bag. Like with all of the slow stitching and all the different types of bags, like rice bags and that type of stuff that everybody's been making. That would be really pretty on one of those, I think. It would be pretty on the front of a journal, too. And then we have some gathered peach lace again. So we've got gathered lace that can be flat very easily. And, or not gathered, I guess I should say. And then we have Oh, and that's pretty. And you know what else? When you have like white lace like this, you know, you can take a marker, especially like a permanent marker, and color. And you can just color those flowers so easily. And the permanent marker just soaks right in there. And so if you don't want to have just a plain old white lace, you can do this. And with the permanent markers, it's not going to go anywhere. So, and you can do the whole thing, or you can just do it like this, where you just color the flower. Now that's fun. Actually, I think I might make some. I may take this and color some and just do like different color flowers. Just because it's something to do right now without having to like have a project in mind. Right this second, I don't have a project in mind. It's been so busy that like thinking about what I'm going to do, I just didn't have a lot of time to do that. So there we go. Yeah, so this is just something that it's mindless but not mindless. It's something that you will be able to use at some point in time. And, you know, you can keep your cream lace cream like this for when you have a specific project so that you can make it match that project, or you can just use it as a craft piece and just use this to color on, just like you'd color in a color book. And then, you know, some of it you'll leave cream, and some of it, as a matter of fact, there's more than one piece here. So I can just take one piece of it and color that whole piece. And then I've got the rest of this to use on other things or to color later. Did I just touch that? I might have just touched that. But yeah, so, and you can do it on any type of fabric at all. This one's cute too. That one I don't have a lot of, so I wouldn't really probably do it with that. But when you have a whole bunch of something, or maybe I would just do it on a little piece just because I want something to do. Look at that. That's a cute little piece. So just remember, you don't have to have a specific project in mind to do something. Like sometimes like, oh, I can't think of what to do, so I can't do anything. So just sit down and just color. Sit down and cut out pictures out of magazines. Rip out pictures out of magazines. Don't even bother to cut them out. Just, you know, like find just something small to do, and you don't have to have a reason for doing it. That's the whole point. The point is just to enjoy yourself, just to have something to do. Keeps your hands busy, keeps your mind busy. And look at that big piece of cording. That would make a really nice handle on something. That was a very cool bag. And then we have black pom-poms. Those are cute too. So I think I'm going to put this aside because I'm going to color that later. And that's the thing. I just really haven't had time to sit down and do a whole project or figure out a whole project. So that's why I'm going through this with you. I thought it might inspire me to do something. And also, it's inspiring me to get this stuff put away because it really needs to be put away. Let's see what's in here. A little bit of black elastic. And if you just kind of try, you don't have to have a big space. If you just kind of try and keep light things together, even if you just have a box, but if you keep all of your threads maybe over here, or maybe in a tall skinny box over here, put all your threads in there, and then put things like twine and elastic. It doesn't have to be just a spot for elastic, just a spot for things that are kind of alike. And it really helps to have things organized just a little bit, so that you know where they are. But I will tell you, when you start to craft, when you start to do something, you're going to have a mess. That's just the way that it goes. It's hard to keep everything completely put together while you're crafting. Like, don't put that pressure on yourself. Just throw it all over the place. And when you're done, pick it up. If you don't have time when you're done, throw it all in a box together. And then just try and make sure that you get to it at some point. You know, if you even just try and put like all of your fabricy type things in one little box and your beads in another, or beady type things, threads in another, or in parts, you know, just to keep them separate. But here's some more elastic and some more thread. And you know, thread, I am not a thread snob. I will use any kind of thread that I have. If it's the right color, that's awesome. If it's not the right color, I'll still use it. So, you know, there is not, you don't have to have any special kind of thread. You know, some breaks easier than others, some stronger than others. This is like stretchy thread, like elastic thread. I'll have to roll that up a little bit. It feels a little bit old. And some more. This has a lot of elastic in here. I'll have to try and think of an elastic project, because there's a lot, and I have a lot of elastic already. So I'll put that with my elastic. There's more and more and more. Look at this. This is little diamonds. And this would look really cute on a journal. Wondering if it would, nope, it doesn't bend sideways. I was wondering if it would kind of swirl a little bit, but those are really pretty. They really, really sparkle. I don't know if you can really see that or not. It doesn't look like it through my phone, but those are really beautiful. Hem tape. So what's hem tape? I have no idea. I'm not exactly sure. To tape up a hem. It has 24 strips. Change your hem length in an instant. Remove. Oh, it removes easily after use and won't damage your clothing. No ironing and no sewing. So basically, it literally is a tape that you would fold your pants up and put the tape on there to make them shorter, or to fix your hem like quickly. And then you take it off before you wash your hem, before you wash your pants or whatever has the hem on it, so that it doesn't, because I would imagine if it goes through the washing machine, it probably would get really sticky and make your fabric really sticky. Here's one of those, a wooden spool. Like I like those spools that come out like that. Like I was showing you the plastic one earlier. I just really like these. It's Coats and Clark. No, it's not. It's J&P Coats. That's funny. I so remember Coats and Clark when I was younger. And then we have a lot of different types of strings and ribbons. And this is something, and I don't know what it is. If you know what this is, you'll have to tell me. So maybe it's a spool, but I don't think so. I think that maybe it's, I don't know what it's for. I don't have any idea. Maybe it's like I don't know. So if you know what that is, you'll have to tell me. Because I think I've seen them before. That's why I said it's something, because I do think I've seen it before. But I have no idea what it is. My mother was a sewer, so she had lots of different things, but I never wanted to pay attention when I was young. And so we've got this bias tape, I think is what this is called. You can put over it at the edge of a project, and it's already like folded in, so your edges are already smooth. So there's some of that there. And we've got some little white sequins. Those are pretty. Some lace. Some little tiny silvery blue sequins. And more ribbons. Cording. This one's kind of fun. This one's got a little bead on the end. And you know, this is probably a lot of this stuff. This probably came out of maybe a t-shirt or something, or I mean like a sweatshirt around a hood or something like that, where, you know, it used to be that all of this stuff was saved. You didn't throw it all away. And that's where your junk journals come from and stuff like that too. It's one of those things where it's like, craft with what you have, and especially if you're just starting, keep what you have. If you have something you're going to throw away, look at it and think, is that something that I could use maybe later? And if so, then go ahead and keep it. Don't overrun yourself with stuff, but it doesn't hurt to keep stuff around. There's a little piece of, almost looks like clothesline, but that's one of those that you could wrap fabric around. There is shoestrings, zippers. Zippers are fun to play with. They're fun to put in mixed media projects. Mixed media is fun to play with too. You just glue stuff together and, you know, like make it look like something. Just, or even not. Just make it pretty colors, or it's just fun. That's what crafting is supposed to be about. You know, none of us are probably, maybe one of us or even more will be a famous artist someday, but we're probably not going to be, and that's not the point. You know, the point is enjoying it. There's a lot of famous artists that were really miserable, so maybe we don't even want to be a famous artist. Look at those sequins. They're clear see-through. Nice size. So it's all about just having fun doing what you're doing. Little appliques there. I think that beaded trim is really fun, and you can make your own beaded trim. You take a piece of something, and then you just start putting bead. You have a bead needle with thread on it. Put it through here. Put your beads on. Then when you get to the bottom bead, when you get to the very bottom bead, here they put a little tiny seed bead at the bottom. Actually, they put 3 to make it look, to make it go around. When you get through your bottom bead, you come all the way down through here. When you get to the bottom, you go around that bead and back up through all the rest till you get to there. And then you go over to the next one. And it's that bottom bit of going around just that bottom bit. And I've never seen this before where they did 3. I've always just gone around the bottom bead. But they came out, put 3 beads, and then went back in through this bead. So usually when you have just one bead at the bottom, you see the thread that comes out and it goes through this bead, and then you go around this bead to go back up through. You see that piece of thread. Well, this one, you come out, you go through 3 beads and go back up. That thread is inside those 3 beads, so you don't see it at all. And the 3 beads looks really cute. Never, ever thought of that before. That's a really cute idea. A metal thimble. Gotta love metal thimbles. We've got black sequins and a dark green. Oh, a dark green and a zigzag pattern. Couple more zippers, or one. Just one really long one. And lots. We've got pink. We've got an applique. It's a butterfly. Nope, it's a bow. That's cute. Purple on a string. This one is little white, cleary white, and turquoise flowers on a turquoise string. And see, you could do something like this yourself. You can take some sequins and sew them onto a piece of fabric or a piece of tulle to make some kind of a pattern. And yes, it's fiddly, but it's one of those things where it's like, if you're just looking for something to do, you could try that. And it might be fun. And then we've got more of the bias tape and more bias tape. And that is the end of that. So this now all has to be put away. That's the worst part of all of this. But it's fun to buy it. It's fun to go through the bags and see what kind of cool stuff you wound up with in the long run. And I'm going to I'll just move you around just a little bit to show you. Like, it goes all the way back there and over there. So I have a lot to put away and a lot of things to play with, and hopefully some inspiration to do something. I'm going to do this. I really am. I like that. Let's see, put it on there. No, can't see it really. Isn't that cool? I am definitely going to do that. I'm going to color this whole one with permanent markers just because, and not in any specific color. And also this one. I want to make something like this for going on vacation, because I think that that would be fun to play with too. So thank you very much for stopping by. Sorry I don't have a project this week, but this is something that you can do. It's just this summer I guess I'm going to just kind of be here off and on. We'll see when I get the next crafting for pleasure done. I've been playing with things, you know, trying to do a few things, but I just haven't got to the point where I can do a tutorial and just have the time to do it. So today I'm going to spend time coloring lace and putting this whole mess away. Thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.